circles, to name a few, you probably might know him. In fact, some say Jim DeRentis is a bigger name. The son of a strip club owner built his own legacy, and not without loss. At their Providence home, Jim jokes that he used to be something, and now he's the mayor's husband. But Jim DeRentis is a lot more than that.
We actually added this.
You added what?
This
deck?
This wasn't here.
At their historic brownstone on the east side.
Yeah, actually, I call this the COVID couch.
That's what you got.
That's when we got it.
You spent a lot of time out here.
All summer long.
All summer long.
Yeah.
Everything is meticulous, right down to the lace cap hydrangeas.
Do you think this is it? This is the final home or no?
No.
Really?
No. This is number 15. There'll be others.
Real estate is more than just a job for Jim DeRentis. It's a passion.
What is this?
It's just it's an abstract, sort of contemporary art piece.
Inside, abstract intertwines with classic, modern.
This was done after the banking crisis, and it talks a lot about foreclosures, short sales, and people losing their houses. And
something the fourth generation of mostly Italians can relate with.
When I was growing up, my parents got divorced.
His mom a nurse, moving to Warwick and raising him and his two sisters.
I remember difficulties with, credit and mortgages and all those kinds of things, not because she didn't qualify, it was purely because she was a woman.
The stigma of divorce back then.
It was not a pleasant marriage, so it was sort of a relief.
And the pain that comes with it.
My father and I were sort of estranged until later in life.
His late father, the founder of the Foxy Lady Strip Club. Jim's path just the opposite. Bryant then his MBA at Providence College, all the while coming into his own.
Being a gay kid in 1970s Warwick, Rhode Island was not a safe place to be. Like you didn't talk about it, right? You didn't come out.
Then the 80s.
The AIDS crisis hit, and there were a lot of friends who didn't survive. My first partner of 17 years did not. And it was a terrible thing, a terrible disease to watch somebody die of that.
This is, in fact,
when I met Brett, I'll say this all the time, unashamedly, and it was love at first sight. Like I literally saw him, and my head spun, and I never looked back.
A young Brett Smiley came to Rhode Island to work on Charlie Fogarty's 2006 gubernatorial campaign.
I called him and I said, "Hey, you're new in town. Why don't I show you around, give you the lay of the land?" The
18-year age difference never got in the way.
I graduated high school in 1979. That was the year he was born.
Was that ever an issue for anyone besides you being Capital Cougar?
I actually didn't know how old he was.
He calls Brett an old soul, born in the wrong century. They married 2 years later in 2008.
What's one thing that drives you crazy about him?
I'm hard-pressed to think of anything. I don't even think we've ever even had an argument.
Oh, shut up.
I'm serious.
We don't really get to know our vice president.
I relish his success as he does mine.
Before Brett's political ascension, Jim already was well known for his success in banking and then real estate.
I've read several times that you were like one of the top agents in Rhode Island, and you've done like $100 million in sales a year.
Right. I tease Brett a lot. I said I used to be somebody, and now I'm just the mayor's husband.
And that has become a major adjustment.
I'm not good at criticism of him, right?
You get very defensive.
I get very defensive.
They make time for each other. PC basketball games, theater, running, their apartment in New York City, a nice escape, and ballet.
One of his favorite things to do is go to Alvin Ailey, which is a contemporary dance troupe in New York, right? He loves it. I could take it or leave it.
Many of you have heard about the fact that I've also struggled with addiction.
Brett, a recovered alcoholic. Jim enjoys a good glass of wine.
Red wine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And what drives you?
I think it's not like every day I get up and say I'm going to be number one, right? It's how can you make a difference?
Right.
I like to think that I'm sort of a local boy made good. I love the state. I love this city. I consider myself an ambassador for Providence.
and a lot beyond that. He's a fascinating guy. He really is, and he's also given a lot to charity. And you know, when he went into the public spotlight, as you know, people who are in the public spotlight realize there was a lot to adjust to, and so he actually called Annie Moffett, who was former Governor Gina Raimondo, now Secretary of Commerce's husband, to kind of get some advice to get through it, because it was an area that he wasn't familiar with, and he was very defensive. So just an incredible guy, though, and very smart.
It makes you look so short.
Yeah, well, he's thin and he's taller, and so I'm the little fat guy in this piece, but heck, you know, you are what you own.
No, it was a great piece. It was very
thank you
interesting.
very
And
much.
what a gorgeous home, my goodness.
Beautiful. But he's worked hard for it. They
Yeah.
both have. So all right.